What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 3. And in today's episode, we're going to be covering the last of the base sidearms. This is the WSP Stinger. And starting it off as always, let's have a look at our damage profile, and this gun doesn't deal a whole lot of damage at all. However, it does deal the same amount of damage anywhere in the body, which is quite unique since most guns have separate body multipliers, and in that sense, that means you're at least going to see a lot more consistency with this. But it is going to be a 6 to 9 shot kill to the body, and when it comes to headshots, generally speaking, it's not worth going for headshots because in the first two damage ranges, you need 3 headshots mixed in with body shots in order to cut down the number of shots to kill, and especially when we look at the recoil later, you'll see that that's just not really a smart idea. As for our rate of fire, this is incredibly fast at 1,000 rounds per minute, and what this means for our time to kill potential is with that 6-shot kill, we're killing in 300 milliseconds, which is not a terrible time to kill, but it also isn't really good. It doesn't stand out in the time to kill department. But then for every additional shot that you require to kill, we're adding 60 milliseconds, so it goes all the way up to 480 milliseconds for a 9-shot kill, and as a result, you generally want to try to keep yourself up close and personal. Also, it is worth noting, if you manage to mix those 3 headshots in with body shots up close for a 5-shot kill, now we can kill in 240 milliseconds, but as I said earlier, this generally isn't the best idea to be trying to go for. After that, let's have a look at our ranges, and as we can see here, we don't have the greatest range drop-off points. Our 6-shot kill range is only 6.4 meters, that's pretty short. Then our 7-shot kill is about 14 meters, which is a bit more reasonable, and this is generally the effective range that I would try to stay within while using the WSP Stinger. That's not to say that you can't challenge anything beyond that, that's just really where this gun isn't going to be at a massive disadvantage compared to many of the other guns in the game. Another really important thing to point out with the WSP Stinger is we have a terrible bullet velocity at just 250 meters per second, and that really solidifies this as a close range only sort of a gun. After that though, let's have a quick look at our hardcore ranges, and a big thing with this gun is we actually can't get a 1-shot kill to the body at any range, and we only get a 1-shot kill to the head in that maximum damage range, which is just 6.4 meters. Now, of course, it does have a crazy high fire rate, and therefore landing 2 bullets isn't going to be the end of the world with this gun, at least in reasonably close quarter situations. So while, of course, just like any gun, this is very usable in hardcore game modes, I wouldn't say it excels here. Now, one area where this gun really does excel is Hipfire. It's got an amazing Hipfire spread. Our minimum Hipfire spread is just 2 degrees per second, and our maximum is quite tight as well at 4.5 degrees per second. So Hipfiring is definitely a good way to go with this gun, especially when you consider the fact that when you aim down sights, we've got a lot of recoil with the WSP Stinger. As you can see here, there is a massive jump between the first and second shot fired, and that's obviously going to be a big problem if you're trying to be as precise as possible and land multiple consecutive shots. So this is just more evidence to the fact that the WSP Stinger is not a long-range gun. It's specifically made to be used in close quarter situations. After that though, let's have a look at our handling stats, and our aim down sight time is incredibly fast. I believe it's actually the fastest in the game for Modern Warfare 3 guns at least, at 145 milliseconds. And our sprint to fire time is also ridiculous. I think it is also the fastest in the entire game. Our standard sprint out time is just 27 milliseconds, and even our tactical sprint out time, this is just 45 milliseconds, which is significantly faster than even the standard sprint out time with most guns. So sprinting is barely even a penalty while using this, which is excellent. And on top of that, our reload add time is ridiculously fast at just 1.05 seconds. Now, of course, you're going to need that fast reload time, though, because you do burn through these mags extremely quickly with that super high fire rate. And for base stats, this just leaves us with our mobility stats, and this is yet another area where the WSP Stinger is a pretty extreme outlier. We have amazing movement speeds with this gun. Our base movement speed is 5.7 meters per second, which is faster than the sprint speed of many of the guns in this game. And then speaking of sprint speed, this is head and shoulders above pretty much everything at 6.4 meters per second. That is insanely fast. And this trend also carries over to our aim walking speed, which is 4.2 meters per second, which means you can strafe while aiming down sight very quickly with this gun. But something I noticed with it is there's a very distinct lack of aim walking steadiness. And therefore, if you do try to strafe in a gunfight, I find the gun bounces around quite a bit, which can make it a bit difficult to hit your target when doing so. And with that, that's pretty much it for all of the base stats of the WSP Stinger, and unlike the other pistols, unfortunately we don't really have too many interesting attachments with this. Like, there's no aftermarket part or conversion kit or anything like that. One thing I will mention that is quite unique to this gun though is we have no ability to use an optic on the WSP Stinger, and I've got to say, I'm really not a fan of the iron sights on this gun as well, so that is another key downside to using this. But with all of that in mind, let's get into some excellent attachment combinations that I've got for you guys. And the first one I wanted to share is what I like to call my SMG build. With this one, we're stacking quite heavily into recoil control, and I found the XRK Sandstorm muzzle is the best for this since it has the most extreme reduction to our vertical recoil, while also still helping nicely with gun kick and horizontal recoil. We have the FJX Dido 70 laser. This one is visible while aiming down sight, but it has some nice upsides when it comes to handling and our aiming stability. We're also using the WSP Rampart 4 stock, the Marauder rear grip, and then finally the 32 round mag, just because you burn through those 20 round mags really quickly, so I like having a larger magazine with this. And with this particular setup, we actually get very reasonable recoil now. We no longer have that massive jump between the first and second shot fired, and this is actually a very controllable recoil pattern now, so it allows you to stretch your ranges out at least a little bit. But of course, keep in mind, we are still going to be held back by not only our range drop-off points, but also that really slow bullet velocity. Now, additionally, with this setup, our aim down sight speed is slowed down a lot in order to gain these recoil benefits. It's now 265 milliseconds, which honestly isn't great, but at least the upside with this is you can kind of hip fire into aiming down sight since it is so good with hip fire. And then on top of that, our sprint out time is very slightly slowed down, but still way better than basically everything else in this game. So I still consider that to be a massive upside with this setup. And in general, this is just not a bad way to run the WSP Stinger. You can kind of get away with using it as a primary weapon, although you still are going to be outgunned by most of the actual primary weapons in the game. Next, I wanted to create a build that was really designed to lean into the hipfire benefits of this, and also tac stance. So with this one, we're using the S37C DL Breacher for our muzzle, the X10 Sidearm L400 laser, the WSP Factory stock, the WSP TAC 20 grip, and then finally, once again, that 32 round mag. And with this one, while we don't see any massive benefits to our hipfire spread, it's so great by default that even just making it a little bit better is amazing. And by default, we're not even allowed to use tac stance with this unless we're using one of the stocks. And our tac stance spread on this is quite good at 1.6 degrees per second. So I actually find that you can be quite effective with this, either hip firing or in tac stance. I wouldn't recommend going full aim down sight though. And with this one, again, our aim down sight time was slowed down quite a bit compared to the base Stinger at 252 milliseconds, but it's not nearly as relevant here if we're going to be hip firing into tac stance a lot more often. And then once again, just like with the previous build, even though our sprint out time is slightly slowed down, it's still far better than basically everything else in this entire game. So that's just another option for using this, and you can definitely find some success with this build. However, I do have one final build to share for you guys, and this is my Akimbo Stinger build. And with this one, of course, we're using Akimbo. Also, once again, that 32 round magazine. I really like using that with this gun. We've also got that S37C DL Breacher, the short light barrel, and then finally the X10 Sidearm L400. And with this one, again, we've got a really nice tight hipfire spread. Even while firing, it doesn't spread out all that much, so it's going to be quite effective at hitting targets reasonably consistently up close. Our time to kill potential is now insanely fast. Assuming all of our shots hit at least, we can kill in as little as 120 milliseconds, which is ridiculously fast for this game. And honestly, even if it takes you an extra shot or two to kill compared to that, we're still getting a very good time to kill potential. So now we actually have the ability to dominate up close. Our sprint out time, again, very slightly slower than the base, but still amazing and far better than anything else. And another thing to point out is with that barrel, I actually improved the ranges by 34%, which is nice, but also not like super important with this gun. I just felt that our 5th attachment was best suited to that barrel. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the WSP Stinger. As for my thoughts on this gun, honestly, it's my least favorite of the Modern Warfare 3 sidearms. I don't think it's horrible, it's totally fine, I can use it, I can find some success with it. It's just that when I compare it to the other pistols in the game, I'd just generally rather use the other ones. I find them to be a lot more versatile, and also generally a lot more fun to use as well. Now, of course, these are just my opinions, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about this gun in those comments down below. Also, if you guys have missed any of the previous episodes of Gun Guides, I've now covered every single one of the Modern Warfare 3 guns that are currently in the game. I will leave a link to the playlist in the description down below. And on that note, I just wanted to quickly mention that when it comes to Modern Warfare 2 guns, no, I am not redoing all of my Modern Warfare 2 gun guides. That would be completely ridiculous. They wouldn't get very many views anyway, and the amount of effort that would have to go into that would be insane. So no, not fully doing those. However, I do plan on integrating some more videos, maybe comparing some Modern Warfare 2 guns to Modern Warfare 3 guns. So I do plan on branching into that a bit more without doing full gun guides. So there we go, that's that. If you guys enjoyed this video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.